It's 9 p.m. Do you know where your key fob is?
Hey there, Nate Benson here. Tonight on the agenda, a fireworks kerfuffle from Mayor Sean Ryan. And a seemingly innocent flag-raising ceremony in Niagara Square has now led to a threat to blow up City Hall and 2 criminal investigations. Plus, dissecting the race for the 61st Senate seat. And it's hot.
How hot is it?
It's so hot, the laws of thermodynamics caused the Michigan Ave Bridge to fail. On the Agenda starts right now. Thanks again for watching. The week started off with some fireworks. Actually, news about fireworks, as Mayor Sean Ryan's office announced that the city would not be sponsoring a public fireworks display this year, despite previously saying they would. Here's Dave McKinley's initial report about the fireworks and his follow-up once we were able to track down Mayor Sean Ryan.
For the first time in a generation, the city of Buffalo will be bringing fireworks back to downtown Buffalo.
That was Mayor Ryan just a few weeks ago. Today, when it confirmed fireworks would be a no-go, the mayor's press office said no one was available to answer questions about the decision, which, according to a brief statement they released, was made because an appropriate site could not be identified that would provide a safe and widely accessible viewing experience for residents.
Well, it's a little disappointing.
North District Common Council member Joe Golombek was more diplomatic than another lawmaker who told us privately that they found the decision and the reasoning behind it to be ridiculous, especially because the city has hosted 4th of July fireworks in the past at a variety of locations, including one in Golombek's district.
Years ago, there was a huge celebration at Riverside Park, the 21st Ward Independence Day Association.
Well, I did one in the city of Buffalo in front of the City Hall one year, and it was beautiful.
Years ago, when the city was too broke for fireworks, restaurateur and philanthropist Russ Salvatore stepped up to pay for the fireworks.
And the next year we did it in Delaware Park. We've done them in different areas of that. With the new mayor today, they didn't give me no cooperation down there, and I had to get it done.
This year, though, he will be hosting a display at his Patriots and Heroes Memorial Park on Transit Road near the Thruway, which we noticed isn't too far from the flight path of low-flying planes at the Buffalo Airport.
It'd be a heck of a flight.
I know it.
But the NFTA says it's just far enough away for the show to go on without disruption to air traffic. When it was announced the fireworks were a no-go, the mayor's press office put out a statement that read, an appropriate site could not be identified that would provide a safe and widely accessible viewing experience for residents. We asked Mayor Ryan about the point raised by many of you when commenting on this story on our social media platforms.
Do you understand why a lot of people think that makes no sense, though? There were fireworks at Delaware Park, Riverside Park, LaSalle Park.
Well, what years are you talking about?
A few years back when we used to
hold
do
on.
the canal side.
Let's be clear.
We can be clear that in recent years there have also been fireworks at Canal Side. Here's some pictures, and we've learned there will be more of them on August 2nd, when the Buffalo Naval Park celebrates the day the last of the Founding Fathers actually signed the Declaration of Independence.
And we're going to be celebrating stars, stripes, and signers here in a big way with fireworks returning to Buffalo Naval Park and the Canal Side area.
And now they're going to have some on August 2nd at Canal Side, which is suddenly going to be safe and accessible, where it's not now, but 1 month from now it will be. How does that make any sense?
Well, we haven't had fireworks in the city of Buffalo sponsored by the city of Buffalo in over 30 years. So we're trying to bring that back, just like we're bringing back other things. And I'm not going to be able to bring it all back in 6 months, but we're going to try like heck to do it. And we tried to cram this year's display in, but at the end of the time, the logistics and the time frame caught up with us. The good news is there will be fireworks at July 3rd at Bison Field, and in a combination of several different municipalities at August 2nd, which is the signing day of the Declaration of Independence at the military park.
Is it possible that in your haste to get this done, you never secured a fireworks vendor and you can't just get one? Like, it's something you got to do a year in advance, and you guys just kind of screwed the pooch.
No, we had a vendor.
You had somebody to blow them off?
Yeah. We had the vendor, and it's the same vendor who's going to be doing the fireworks at Salvatore's on July 4th, the same vendor. The problems we had, we wanted to do them right downtown in the City Hall area, but no one with a living memory had put fireworks there because it's been so long, and the fireworks vendor started raising real questions about, when you put these fireworks up, canisters drop down. And what they'll do them on the canal side, they're going to do them in the river on the barge. So we weren't able to really figure out what is the safest place to do them. So what do you do if you're not sure about safety? You pull back and you come up with a safer plan.
Is part of the safety that you don't have enough cops to work an event that could attract, 30,000 people?
No, not at all. I mean, we are staffed up enough in our police department where routinely we handle weekends that have the Allentown Art Festival and the Juneteenth at the same time. So we're able to bring in our full department plus police officers who are on their days off. So we're really good at staffing up for big events. We're going to have big events throughout the summer, and we know how to do that.
How is it possible that they can do them August 2nd at Canal Side then? Just because of the way they have a launch set up?
Yeah, they're going to launch those off a barge in the river, so they don't have to worry about the debris falling.
You couldn't do that?
I didn't want to do them on the barge in the river because we're already doing them August 2nd on the barge in the river. I want to be able to do them downtown as a way to bring people into downtown. That's our goal. And you mentioned the zoo. For years they did them at the zoo, but it really wreaked havoc on the zoo animals. So Delaware Park is not a good location for fireworks, as we did that at the expense of animals. And people might hearken back, to the good old days of the Friendship Festival, where it was Canada Day and July 4th, and we had a big display in Riverside Park. That was all paid for by Erie County's government, and that all got cut during the red-green budget. So the county used to pay for those fireworks displays. That all got nixed during that budget. And also that Friendship Festival didn't last because after 9/11, the border requirements tightened up so much. I mean, I remember seeing the Bare Naked Ladies and Billy Bragg right over the border at the Mathers Arch, and you could walk there. But those events really aren't happening now with the heightened homeland security on the borders.
Would
but
you look
we do
forward to maybe when it's finished, Ralph Wilson Park being a good venue? Because I remember them being at LaSalle Park.
That's something we can look at, but Ralph Wilson's not open this summer.
Right, when it's finished, would that be an ideal location?
Look,
I come with ideas, man.
What do we want? We want to have a great fireworks display in the city of Buffalo on the 4th of July. That's our goal. I realized that we were not able to be able to pull that off in a short period of time, but we're already putting the steps forward to do it, next year.
Coming up, how the raising of a Somali flag in Niagara Square led to 2 criminal investigations and a threat to blow up City Hall. Welcome back. You may have seen some news in national media outlets about a Somali flag being raised in Niagara Square this week. Raising various flags is something that happens all the time in Niagara Square. What's different this time is people on social media juxtaposed the cancellation of firework plans by the city and the raising of a Somali flag, and a social media firestorm ignited that ultimately led to serious threats made against city lawmakers and City Hall itself. A flag-raising ceremony in Niagara Square led to widespread social media commentary and escalated to
an online threat to blow up City Hall.
Let me walk you through this. On Wednesday, city and state lawmakers joined members of the Somali community to raise a Somali flag in Niagara Square in order to recognize Somali Independence Day. Raising flags in Niagara Square is something that is done on a regular basis to celebrate certain communities, ethnicities, and more. But on the heels of Mayor Sean Ryan announcing that the city of Buffalo would not be sponsoring a public fireworks event, people on social media began combining the 2 different stories into one, essentially saying Buffalo isn't doing fireworks, but will raise another country's flag. Again, something that is done regularly in Niagara Square. One of the people that drew those parallels was Erie County Republican Committee Chairman Michael Crocker, posting, quote, "To recap the America 250 week in Buffalo, City Hall canceled a fireworks display and hung a Somali flag instead."
Without question, it's the lack of any recognition of the 250th anniversary of America by City Hall. Sean Ryan was rather flippant about the cancellation of the fireworks display that he said was going to happen. So certainly seeing another nation's flag raised over our City Hall, over Niagara Square, was an exclamation point after learning that City Hall had decided they weren't going to do even the bare minimum to recognize a major moment in our own nation's history.
Are we possibly conflating the two things here? Because we do raise flags for Italian Heritage Month, Black History Month, Juneteenth, Gay Pride, Ukrainians, Latino, Mexican, I mean, insert nationality or heritage here. We do celebrate that on a fairly regular basis here in the city of Buffalo. So why is the Somali community getting dragged into this?
I don't think the Somali community is getting dragged into this. This occurred during the week of July 4th in a very unique July 4th. 250th anniversary of our nation. This isn't the 251st where we might hope Sean Ryan makes good on his commitment to bring fireworks to Buffalo. This is a quarter century of America celebrating our nation. So I don't care what nation's flag was being flown over our city hall. It shouldn't have been happening this week. And certainly it should have been happening after the City Hall showed no effort whatsoever to celebrate our nation's national identity, our nation's history, but they made time to celebrate the independence of a foreign nation. And I just thought it was an unfortunate display after their apathy about celebrating 250 years of American freedom.
The Somali community has kind of been targeted with some of the responses to this. We've seen it on social media. We've seen posts, comments, things like that. But again, in your mind, this is more, it's not a Somali thing, it's more of a thing regarding City Hall on the 4th of July.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I'd sit down with any members of that community and discuss the issue. When I put out a statement yesterday, I said, this is not about not recognizing the contributions of immigrant communities. This is a city that's been built by immigrant communities, and we've celebrated that in many different forms. But when you have a city administration that is showing no interest in recognizing the American moment that is the 250 celebration, while City Hall is celebrating the independence of a foreign nation, I found it to be offensive. Clearly, a lot of people found it to be offensive. This went nationwide, Republicans, Democrats, celebrities, politicians, all over the country commenting on this. I would certainly disavow anybody who made any violent statements, attacked either the community, the Somali community, or any member of this community, made any violent threats towards public officials or City Hall. But that doesn't change the passion that people clearly have for this issue. This isn't a Michael Crocker or an Erie County Republican Committee issue. Nationwide and across this community, people were outraged that the mayor was so nonchalant about this major moment in our nation's history the same day that City Hall was flying another nation's flag over our city. So I hope the City Hall recognizes the passion people have for celebrating our nation. There's a lot of pride in the United States of America right now, and I think it would have been great if City Hall would have joined in.
Social media comments, however, were focused on the Somali community and led to threats against city lawmakers and the city itself. Once again, Police Commissioner Erica Shields outlining a significant threat.
We identified an online threat to blow up City Hall. And so our investigators worked diligently to track down the person who had sent that message. They do live outside of the city of Buffalo, so we're working with our partners to further that investigation. Today, later this afternoon, what we're experiencing is that several of our council people are receiving harassing texts and harassing voicemails along the same vein as the earlier incident.
Commissioner Shields noted several council members receiving threatening messages and voicemails.
They're both tied to the fact that a Somalian flag was raised on a city-owned flagpole. That flagpole was damaged last night at some point. Someone took the flag down and damaged the flagpole. So our investigators are opening an investigation into the damage of city property, and that investigation is ongoing. So it's been an unfortunate series of incidents, but we've increased our patrols exponentially in the area. We already had mobilized a large number of people for the weekend events. We want everybody to have a great time, to enjoy themselves, and things to go safely.
So there are now 2 criminal investigations ongoing, one regarding the threat to blow up City Hall and the vandalism of the flagpole in Niagara Square. Regarding the vandalism of the pole, Commissioner Shields says they have reviewed footage from a nearby camera operated by the city, and investigators.
They do have a lead, and they're tracking that lead down right now. So I have full confidence that in the near future someone will be charged for the vandalism.
what kind of charges would come along with something like that? I mean, it's city property. I imagine it's not going to escalate to a felony of some kind unless you decide to include some sort of hate charge with it.
No,
or something like
it's actually what will drive whether it's a misdemeanor or felony will be the dollar value to the damage. Okay. So it'll be a criminal damage, criminal mischief charge, but the dollar value is what distinguishes between a misdemeanor and a felony.
As for the threat to blow up City Hall, extra security was put in place Thursday, and because of the holiday, City Hall was already scheduled to be closed on Friday. As for the severity of the whole ordeal,
did it seem like a credible threat to blow up City Hall? Obviously one serious one, or was this more or less someone blowing off comments on social media?
You know, it's a fair question, and I think when you're sitting in our seat over here, you always move forward with severe caution and an abundance of caution, and I would never be comfortable dismissing something as idle commentary online. The problem is we don't know who's making the threat, we don't know what their mindset is, and so we take things at face value of what we're seeing, and we investigate it as if there's a truth to it.
Again, that's someone who you've been able to identify, and that's being investigated. Yes?
Correct.
The department's dealing with a lot. I've worked overnights for a good chunk of my career. I know how crazy the city is in terms of Buffalo police calls on 4th of July. Mm-hmm. What does an incident like this do in terms of kind of adjusting your focus leading into the 4th of July holiday?
You know, like I said, we'd already mobilized a large number of individuals. You know, we've activated a few more specialized units. But at the end of the day, I feel like we have a very good security plan in place, and I think that we're in a good space.
Coming up, the Erie County Executive dissects the race for the 61st Senate seat. But first, a look at the weekend weather. Welcome back. For many political insiders, the primary for the 61st Senate seat had a surprising outcome. Progressive Assemblymember John Rivera defeated incumbent and Erie County Democratic Committee Chairman Jeremy Zellner. We caught up with Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz and asked his thoughts about the outcome of the race and what it means for Erie County Democrats.
We saw what happened Tuesday night. First off, your reaction to that, but also nationally with the Democratic Socialist Party. You have your political action committee. You're traveling the country. So reflections on what happened locally, but also nationally.
Well, primaries are the voters, which are generally more to the left. It wasn't totally surprising. I think some of us were looking at it going into Election Day, realizing that it may not be exactly the endorsed candidate's night. That doesn't surprise me, and that's what you saw in New York City, and that's what you saw elsewhere. One of my colleagues in Maryland who was running for a similar position lost, even though he was considered the front runner. So it wasn't just a Buffalo thing, it kind of happened all over the country, and that's what you see in primaries. And you saw it on the right. Look at the race to replace Stefanik. They had a Marine that was basically supported by the entire community, and then Donald Trump endorsed this gentleman, I think Cosentino, and he won. So you often see the extremes in the primaries, and then of course it changes when the general elections come. And there is a general election for the Assembly District. I reached out and communicated with Adam Bojack. He's got my full support, and I think he'll be a great Assembly member. There were three strong candidates in the Democratic race for Assembly. And while Karen Hope ran a good race, the Democratic Party decided to go in a different direction, and that's okay. That's why we have primaries. People forget, I ran in a primary in 2005 in a 3-person primary for county controller. And not a lot of people gave me a shot because I wasn't a well-known name. But we were able to win and go from there. And Adam has my full support going forward. I've already made a financial contribution personally to his campaign. And I understand it's not going to be the same race. Hamburg, which is a significant portion of that district, has become very conservative. And we won one race there, Natalie Nitze, for clerk recently, and the Republicans have won the rest. So you got to understand that the primaries are different than the generals. I will support all the candidates that came out of the primaries, And the same thing across the country. Our goal is to take back our country, to flip a lot of these MAGA seats, to hold Democratic seats. And that's what I'm going to do as county executive and through my national PAC. And we'll be supporting candidates like that, not just locally, but across the country.
So you don't think there's too much infighting?
Huh?
You don't think there's too much infighting in the Democratic Party?
There's always, the best way to describe it is what James Carville has said about the Democratic Party. He said, when the Democratic Party forms firing squads, it forms it in circles. And this is not new. Gone through decades and decades when I was just a volunteer helping out in campaigns and watching the infighting. There's always races, there's always primaries, and to the winners, congratulations. I called John Rivera, congratulated him. And to those who ran and come up a little bit short, thank you for running. It's often a thankless task, but I appreciate them trying to participate and create a better community or country.
Are you still confident in Jeremy Zellner as being Democratic Party chairman for Erie County?
Well, I have not talked to Jeremy since election night. He's reflecting. I think he wants to think about his future, and he deserves time to do that. We've had tremendous wins over the last few years, including in areas where people didn't think we'd win. We took back the town of Tonawanda under Len Lanahan, but then we took back the town of Aurora, and we just won in East Aurora. And I think people have not seen that in a long time. We just flipped the mayor's office in the village of East Aurora. So Jeremy's had a lot of big victories. We flipped Cheektowaga last year, but he needs time to reflect on what he wants to do with his future, and he deserves that.
But are you confident in him?
The results show that the Erie County Dems are out of touch with Democratic voters, and people like the big hitters like you, like Hochul, that are backing Zellner, you're also out of touch, arguably.
No, I'm not out of touch. I understand what's going on. And your differences between the candidates on the issues are very, very small. I mean, the joke in the assembly race is Adam Bojack, Kevin Deese, and Karen Hoke had the same platform. It was exactly the same issues. I consider myself a fairly strong progressive, but what you see is a very small portion of the electorate voted. Countywide, only 12.7% of Democrats enrolled actually voted. I think in the Senate race it was no more than 20%. That's what happens in primaries. What actually scares me more than anything, and I've seen this recently, is the declining number of people that are voting, not just in primaries, but in general elections. The Buffalo News did a story on it after the last major general election and showed the tremendous decline in the number of people who are voting in general elections, and that is very concerning. Less than 25%, so less than 1 out of every 4 Democrats voted in this primary across the county and in the districts where there were contested races. I ran into a lot of people who were very undecided in the Senate race, and where they said, I don't know who to vote for, I'm probably not going to vote. I don't want people not voting. I want people to vote. But listen, we've won races, we've lost races. This is not the worst night we've had in the Democratic Party. I had people bawling and crying on my shoulders in 2016 and in 2024 when Donald Trump was elected president and re-elected president. We'll come through it.
Finally tonight, it's hot.
How hot?
So hot that the Cotter fireboat needed to hose down the Michigan Ave Bridge because the metal expanded, causing the lift to fail.
I took over command of the boat in October of 24.
So you don't have too long of a tenure here. Have you ever had to have the Cotter, you personally, your crews, go out and flood down a bridge?
No, this is the first time that I've had to do it, and I was talking with retired captains, and nobody has any recollection of that happening before. City engineers called yesterday morning about 9:30, explained the situation. They felt that the heat was causing the metal to expand, and were wondering if we'd be able to throw some water at it and try to cool it down enough that it would release. And with the cold water in the Buffalo River, we said we can give it a shot, and we were out for about 5 hours yesterday. I figure we've probably put about 3 million gallons of water onto the bridge, and it didn't change anything. Later on in the night, when things cooled down a little bit more, they actually did get the bridge up, but now it's stuck and it won't go up or down.
That'll do it for the agenda this week. Next week, assuming I don't melt in the heat, we'll continue our expose on worm farms in Wyoming County. Thanks again for watching. Have a happy 4th of July. I'm Nate Benson, and we'll see you at the next one.